I just look around and go, wow, it's just such a fantastic show. It's absolutely brilliant here.
This is such a varied flying display, and of course the night program that truly is unmatched probably anywhere else in the world.
It is a show that is full of surprises. There are some things coming up that we have never seen before.
This is something that was just added to the flying program this morning.
The good people that come to the air shows, they wanted to see something unique, something different that they hadn't seen before.
And they're creating the logo of the Antidotum Airshow, the letter A.
That was impressive, but we're going to dial it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Here's the F-16 Fighting Falcon.
The dedication pass only just above the tree line. There we are with a successful transition into the hover. There goes the release. And why not?
Why not?
Now this is my favourite manoeuvre of the display. It's one of my favourite manoeuvres on the airshow circuit. Here it comes, the C-130E for a flare dump. That's a remarkable sight. The magic of Polish airshows, the magic of Leszno. So get ready for the flares.
Wow, look at that.
Look at the audience response. There is no doubt in my mind as I sit here right now that this is, to me, the greatest airshow in the world. Welcome to my favourite airshow in the world, Antidotum Airshow Leszno. The show's about to start and we'll be showing you 20 minutes of quick-fire highlights. There's a longer 2-hour version of this programme at watch.planestv.com. And joining me to talk you all through the action is Luke Carrico from the United States. Luke, what are you looking forward to over the next 7 hours or so?
Adam, is it wrong for me just to say everything?
That's my stock answer.
This is such a varied flying display. The crowds are piling in as we continue to count down our time, and of course this show site, just remarkable. I just walked in a little bit ago and there is a massive crowd at the gates ready to come in and enjoy this thing.
Yeah, it always attracts a huge crowd, and this will be a record crowd this year, anything up to about 60,000 people. But now we will begin looking out for the Swiss PC-7 team, who have been joined by the TH-06 Super Puma. They will be running in directly over the crowd, and just before they reach us, the Super Puma will be pulling out of the formation and firing some flares.
Well, very good, Adam. It's my understanding that we are now setting up for the full display by the Swiss PC-7 team. Approaching now in this formation they like to call the Flying Diamond.
Yes, the PC-7 team's classic 9-ship shape, and they're about to go up into the only 9-ship aerobatic manoeuvre of the display, which is a loop. And you might hear strains of music in the background. This music has been composed especially for the team by the brother of a former leader. So now watch for the first formation change, 2 aircraft sliding out to the side to create a shape called Grand Flèche, big arrow.
Setting up now, Adam, for one of our favorite maneuvers, the rolling dice.
Yes, this a new manoeuvre introduced in 2023. That year the team had remarkably low pilot turnover, only 1 new pilot, and that left them with some spare training capacity with which to develop some new manoeuvres and revive some old ones. It was the biggest refresh of the display routine in something like 10 years, and this, as you say, is my personal favourite manoeuvre, and it looks so much more dramatic now than it did earlier in the day against the dark sky with the landing lights on. Rolling dice. And now the formation about to twist through about 90 degrees, revealing the rather unusual formation structure of those front 5 aircraft. Soloist now moving in to catch up with his teammates, and they will set up for the final manoeuvre of the display, which is a lovely on-crowd bombburst called the Finale Grande. So there is the Swiss PC-17. Would you like to do the honours and quote Monty Python?
Yes, I will. Now time for something totally different. We had the chance during its validation and rehearsal display to see this performed, and we're very excited to bring this to you, particularly with the drone shots that we're going to have today, as Guy Westgate lifts off behind the Bo 105, and we've got essentially 3 passes associated with this profile. The first is going to be a rolling pass from our left, in which Guy's going to come around, do full stick deflection rolls behind the helicopter.
Now, this is the first time that a roll on tow has been performed in public behind a helicopter. It's a favourite of Guy's behind fixed-wing aircraft. He actually holds the world record for the most number of consecutive rolls while on aero tow, but this looks quite different and rather more spectacular. What a view.
So Adam, that was impressive, but we're going to dial it up a little bit.
Yeah, now we're going to bring both aircraft to a stop, and this is a multi-person effort. There's 2 people in the cockpit of that Bo 105. There's Maciej Dominiak, who is the pilot, but then sitting alongside him is his team manager, David Vallas, and he is actually going to be leaning out of the open window because the airspeed indicator on the helicopter doesn't work below about 20 knots. So in order to establish that they're not moving relative to the ground, he will simply be sticking his head out and looking straight down. So decelerating now, height of 1,000 feet for this manoeuvre, and the air brakes will shortly be deployed on the glider to assist in that deceleration. Guy will slowly be moving lower and lower relative to the helicopter to try and keep the tow rope taut. What you don't want is for the glider to stall when there's any slack in the rope, because that will put huge force on the rope and the helicopter itself. But there we are with a successful transition into the hover, and note that Guy has actually gone beyond the vertical. He is slightly upside down, and reaching the rope release switch from this position is immensely difficult for him within the confines of his 4-point harness. So he'll be straining to reach forward to touch the release switch any second now. Oh, this is the longest hover that
I was about to mention that we've seen thus far.
But there goes the release, effectively falling into the second half of a tail slide, and now because it's Guy, we're going to go into some aerobatics. Guy is the 8 times British national gliding aerobatic champion, so there really is no better man to attempt what we have just witnessed today.
And it's my understanding too, Adam, that this is I'm not sure if Guy has much more than an hour in this particular sailplane.
Yes, this was brought here to Leszno specifically for this performance. It's not his normal mount. He normally flies an MD-M1 Fox or an S1 Swift, but this, the SZD-59 Acro, like those other 2, it's a Polish design. The Polish have a long lineage of designing aerobatic gliders.
A lot of ingenuity and creativity in all of the flying display programs here, but particularly this, the helitow.
Well, Guy there gives us all a wave. He is so enthusiastically adored by the crowd. He is always performing some of the headline moments here at Antidotum Airshow Leszno, and so pleased to have him as part of the Antidotum family. Well,
Adam, we had the aborted takeoff earlier with the A-26, but I think we're faring much better now on the takeoff roll. Million Aeress, the A-26 Invader.
Yes, safely into the air on this occasion.
First flight of the Invader back in 1942, built in a similar configuration to the already combat-proven A-20 Havoc, which it was designed to replace. Powered by the double Wasp R2800 radial engines, together they produce a combined 4,000 horsepower. It was one of the only American bombers to serve in 3 separate conflicts, that of World War II, Korea, and also of Vietnam. Oh, that was nice.
Let's bring in the orchestra of the Polish Air Force. And in fact, we have a special flypast to mark the retirement of the Swedish Air Force SK.60. This being staged because the 2 pilots of the Red Bull Alpha Jets are former SK.60 pilots, albeit with the Austrian Air Force, and they felt the need to honour the retirement of the SK.60 with this special formation sequence. Yes, this aircraft still wearing Team 60 colours, bearing the team's very attractive underwing smoke pods as well. This display expertly flown by Nils Shinström of the Swedish Air Force, and he is about to perform a remarkable manoeuvre, one that I see so rarely from jet-powered aircraft. We've seen it from the likes of the Extra 330 from the Equipe de Voltige earlier today, but this is going to be a partial rolling circle, the aircraft turning through about 60 degrees in terms of its ground track, but performing aileron rolls for the duration.
You know, art is all about, that human connection, and even though that what we're seeing here is an inanimate object, it is certainly displayed remarkably well, and I will say that this solo performance is definitely that art.
It is now to the Polish Air Force that we turn our attention.
A bit of a quick climb there.
Here is the pass that I introduced about 20 minutes ago with an imitation supply drop, but we'll try and give you a look inside the cargo area, because inside is a large Polish flag. High above us, the 2 L-13 Blaniks of Red Bull Team Blaniks have just detached from their Vilga tow planes. And Luke, I am excited for you to see this performance. This is one that we are not going to talk over. But the F-16 is incoming, and this is going to be quite loud, Luke.
Here it is, the F-16 fighting Falcon.
A new sequence for this year, developed by Major Maciej Krakowian, call sign Slab, is now in his second year as the Tiger Demo team pilot. Half a century ago, the F-16 took to the air for the first time. That first flight occurred unexpectedly during a high-speed taxi test when the aircraft lost control. That was seen by some skeptics at the time of proof that the F-16's revolutionary fly-by-wire technology was not fit for purpose, but the following year the jet would silence its critics with a spellbinding display at the Paris Air Show, and it has been entertaining us ever since.
The F-16 would go on to become the most produced fourth-generation fighter in the world, and while those early A and B models are now being phased out, at least here in Europe, newer variants are still on the production line.
Lovely on-crowd, loaded roll, creating a spiral pattern of flares in the sky there. So get ready for the flares. And here's the corkscrew. But so far, we've just seen little flares.
Little flares, because I see on our display sequence here that we have in our notes, you have in all capital letters, big flares.
Yes. Big flares coming up.
I like big flares.
I like big flares, and this is really our first experience during this show of big flares. The helicopter diving down, it's going to pitch up into an on-crowd bunt, and here come the big flares. Already in the air, coming to the hover at show centre, is the Bolko Bo 105 of Maciej Dominiak. And then the one-off element of this display will begin, but here's the ground pyro firing now. So it feels like the anticipation around the showground has just gone up a notch. And I can see people in the crowd looking around expectantly in all directions, which perhaps indicates that they aren't sure which direction this is going to come from either. We won't get sight of it until it's almost on top of us because of the stage behind us. But here it comes, the C-130E for a flare dump. Expectations met?
Met, 100%. 12 out of 10. Oh, that was so cool.
It's not bad, is it? So now we enter the final portion of the display, and here is where we bring in the ground pyrotechnics as well. How about that, Luke?
Outstanding.
The commentary position shook during that
It sure did.
final burst of pyro.
That's
Once again, look at the audience response. Tens of thousands of phone torches. It's visible on the drone camera there.
Wow, look at that.
That's extraordinary.
Clips there from less than a third of the performances that filled our jam-packed 7-hour flying display. You can see all the rest in the full 2-hour version of this programme. But now, over to the Flying Dragons to see us out. Luke, it's been a pleasure to have you with me over the last few days, enjoying this action together.
Yes, indeed, and a great honor to be with you, joining the Plains TV team, and I can't think of a better way to spend a weekend with all of you all. So, a magnificent air show, a lot of great innovation here, a lot of creativity.
I hope that you enjoyed that just as much as we did. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining us over the last few days. And from all of us here at the Plains TV team, have a very good evening and goodbye for now.